Good evening. It is Thursday, September 15th, 2022, and the time is 6 p.m. We're calling to order our city council meeting. We will have an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. And our invocation this evening is being led by former city council member Bill Vanetta and member of First United Methodist Church. Please rise if you wish.
Heavenly Father, we begin our meeting by thanking you for the blessings of this day. Heavenly Father, we ask that you send your Holy Spirit to guide and direct these who are in places of authority as city council people, and be with our city, be with our staff, keep them safe as they endeavor to bring services to our city. And we thank you for this opportunity of coming to you for guidance and assistance in all that we say and all that we do. May it all be pleasing in your sight. This we ask in your Son's precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, Mr. Vanetta. We do not have any declarations or proclamations or presentations this evening, but I see some pink shirts out there. So, would you guys like to talk about those wonderful pink shirts? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Lonadair. I'm a firefighter paramedic out of Station 34 for the city. And I'm happy to announce that we are selling pink shirts for breast cancer awareness. We chose Hooked on Hope. It's a nonprofit cancer society here in the Tampa Bay. It helps the uninsured and the underinsured cancer patients able to get access to the treatment. So we will be selling these at Station 34 at 66th Street and 94th Avenue. Also on the second floor, city clerk will make sure that there's enough shirts there throughout the months to make sure everybody gets one. They're $20, and I'd like to thank you, Bart, for allowing this, and Chief Slatterer for allowing the fire department to wear these shirts. They're hot pink. I think they'll sell great. So far, we've sold almost 115 already in 2 weeks. So I plan on raising a lot of money for these cancer patients. So also, if you want to reach me, my email, DLONADIER@pinellas-park.com. Just reach out to me if the city clerk or Station 34 doesn't have them. I'll make sure you get them. Any questions on any of that?
Yep, and you have small, medium, large, extra large,
Double X, triple X.
3X.
3X. Okay.
So extra small, we don't have in stock, but if you need them, it's a simple phone call, and 7 days later we'll get it to you.
Can I talk you into walking up here when you get done talking?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Well, I got one too. Whoa.
All right.
Thank you, thank you.
And I got one for you too as well.
Yes, yes. I put my order in when I heard about it. Thank you for coming up. We do have a few quasi-judicial items this evening, so those who wish to speak, please stand up and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Section 2, approval of minutes. Councilmember Butler.
Madam Mayor, make a motion we approve the regular council member minutes of August 25th, 2022 is on file in the city clerk's office.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Any discussion? Anybody in the audience that has any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Section 3, public hearings.
Mayor, sorry.
Yes.
You didn't ask if the audience had any comments.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I sure did. Is there anybody in the audience that has any comments or would like to announce anything that is not on our city council agenda this evening? Do you have the dates, George?
Yeah, I'll do it the next meeting.
And next meeting, okay. Well, stay tuned because next meeting we will be announcing the Oktoberfest. So, and George will be giving us those wonderful dates.
Right.
Thank you. Seeing none? Thank you. Now we'll go back to section 3, item P1.
Item P1 is resolution number 22-18, a resolution of the City Council of Pinellas Park, Florida, establishing a millage rate of 5.6500 mils for ad valorem taxation of property within the city for fiscal year 2022-2023 to $26,916,312, providing for an effective date.
How did that going on today?
I just woke everybody up. That's all.
Thank you. All righty. Item P1, resolution number 22-18. This is a first public hearing and first reading, and I'm turning it over to Dan Cassianis.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a real short presentation for the public. So, this chart illustrates the taxable values in the city for both next year and originally for this year. And
Public hearing is open.
the values for next year under the January 2022 column, and the prior year's January 2021. And as you can see, we had a slight drop off in new construction and annexations, but both were very good years. And a lot of times it really is a matter of when these things actually hit the tax rolls as opposed to when they're physically built. But anyhow, the big values were the increase in taxable values from year to year, largely due to properties that turned over, both residential and commercial and industrial. But we have, for next year, we have $5 billion worth of taxable value or tax base on the rolls, which is used as a base to compute the property tax. So approximately 1/2 of 1 cent in property tax dollars is generated from $1 of tax base. So that's the relationship there. And property tax, of course, is estimated at 1/3 of the required revenue to fund the general fund. Here's a chart that we'd like to show that illustrates the calculation of the rollback rate. The rollback rate is a calculated rate required by the state. And basically, it's the rate based upon the new valuations for the new year that would generate the same amount of tax dollars as the prior year. So it's like a starting point, if you will. So basically, because of the new total tax base or the higher tax base of up to $5 billion, with the current revenue for this year of $23.9 million, the millage rate would be calculated at 5.0251. And of course, for next year's budget, we are asking for 5.65 as the millage rate to fund the budget. Basically, that represents a 12.44% increase over the rollback rate. The proposed rate is a 2.9% increase over this year's millage rate of 5.49. Okay. This is a chart I'd like to show. It compares for the major cities and the county in Pinellas County what their proposed millage rates are. And as you can see, Pinellas Park fares very well on a comparison basis. And also, our permit, recreation, utility fees, and impact fees are among the lowest in Pinellas County. Out of every dollar that's paid in tax by a taxpayer in the city of Pinellas Park, roughly 25% goes to the city. The rest of it goes to the school board, the county, and other taxing entities. Here's a sample trim notice that I put on. Ed Taylor originally recommended this. It was a real good idea. And basically, the gray area, the two rightmost columns represent the proposed millage rates for all the tax entities in the county. and what the tax associated with that would be. And then the two left or white columns represent the rollback rate, if you will, what the rollbacks rate are for all the taxing entities. But the bottom line is the total property tax under the, for the rollback rate would be $1,900 plus change, and under the proposed it would be $2,100 plus change. So roughly a difference of $200 for all the taxing entities. This is based on a net taxable value of $100,000 too. Which means if you try to imagine this as far as your tax bill is concerned, you have a gross taxable value, and then you have less the Save Our Homes exclusion, and then you have less the your homestead exemptions of $50,000, except for the school board. The school board's homestead exemption is only $25,000. So, we feel it's definitely an average. We have a lot of properties that were residential properties that are actually underneath this. We have properties that pay little or no tax in the city, but we have some properties that pay tax too. So, okay. Most problems with the tax bill that somebody has is associated with the Save Our Homes cap. They lost their Save Our Homes exclusion. Maybe they were a new property owner and they purchased property, or something wrong with the homestead exemption. So you have to call the Pinellas County Property Appraiser's Office. Don't call me. Don't call the mayor. Don't call the city manager. Call Mr. Twitty at 464-4293. Okay? This is a chart I like to show. It compares the proposed property tax rate that the city will receive for next year, $26.9 million, and compares that with the net cost of providing police, fire, and EMS services after their associated revenues that they get from some places. And basically, we have a deficiency of about $1.4 million that we have to fund from other revenues in the general fund. So remember, property tax represents roughly about 1/3 of the required revenue that we need to fund the entire general fund. Keep that in mind. And that concludes our presentation regarding the millage rate. If anyone has any questions, I am here.
Thank you, Dan. City Council have any questions of Dan?
Good presentation, Dan.
Thank you, Judy.
Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Councilmember Butler.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution number 22-18, first public hearing and first reading.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion by City Council? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item P2, ordinance number 4169.
Item P2 is ordinance number 4169, City of Pinellas Park, Florida appropriation and tax levy ordinance. An appropriation and tax levy ordinance of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, covering the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2022, and ending September 30th, 2023. Being an ordinance appropriating funds required for the purpose of meeting the general operating expenses of the city for salaries, wages, fees necessary or proper, disbursements, and other expenditures necessary or proper for the operation of the city government, the water and sewage utility system, and for the purpose of meeting debt retirement requirements and capital improvements during said fiscal year, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Item P2, ordinance number 4169. First public hearing and first reading. I am opening the public hearing and turning it over to Dan Cassianis.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we have a few slides we want to present to you and the public on the budget. It's difficult to do that. I mean, the budget is, yay thick, but we try to do the best we can, so bear with me. Basically, this is a chart that we like to show. It compares totals, the totals for our major funds that we have in the city, the general fund, the water and sewer fund, CRA, community redevelopment, capital improvement program. And we take those totals for what we're proposing for next year, and we compare them with what they were for this year. And as you can see, if you look at the bottom line on the totals, this year's budget was basically 151 million, and what's being proposed for next year is 201 million dollars. So a substantial increase, but most of that is associated with capital improvement projects, which we'll get to in a few slides, and you'll be able to see the breakdown on that. So most of it is capital. It's not operating. It's not people. It's not operating costs. Okay. I like to show the pie charts. People seem to understand them a lot better. This indicates where the money comes from for the general fund. We got property tax 1/3, franchise fee and utility tax 20%, and the rest come from various other sources, including charges for services, licenses, permits, and so forth. Where's the money go? Police, fire, and EMS roughly represent 50% of the expenditures in the general fund. The rest is public works, leisure services, refuse for garbage and recycling, general and administrative. Capital Improvement Revenue Fund, how's this funded? Basically, grants 24% is a big thing especially for our police and fire, not our police and fire, but youth park expansion. CRA 6%, bond money 42%. That will be used for the police and fire campus construction, and then water and sewer 13%. Where's the money go? Where's the money being spent? Well, 42%, for police, and including fire. We don't know what the exact proportion is going to be yet. But roughly 42% for the police and fire campus. Transportation's 3%. That's your roads and streets and sidewalks. Culture and recreation for various capital improvements, including the youth park renovation or rebirth or reconstruction or whatever you want to call it. And basically, that's it. And here's a quick chart regarding the major capital projects for next year and what they are. The One City Center, this is for the first year only. This is going to be an ongoing project for at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. So this is the first year cost for design and the beginning of the construction. The Youth Park Sports Complex design construction, roughly about $20.2 million, but I'm sure this is going to extend past next year. It will extend into the following year's budget as well, so not all that's going to be spent next year. We have the Police and Fire Campus, $25 million for certain. That will extend over 2 or 3 years. We just don't know how much yet, so we decided to put it all in this year's budget. Whatever's not spent will be carried forward into the following year's budget. And then the Belcher Sewer Interceptor replacement, $6 million. That's a major infrastructure item for transporting our sewage over to the county treatment plant. Very important. Anyhow, that concludes our presentation regarding the budget. We're opening up to any questions that anybody in the audience or the public may have, or council.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of Dan? Dan, just looking at those numbers, a lot of those numbers we've applied for grants and have got notice that we should be receiving some grants on some of those projects. So the actual city expenditure won't be quite that much.
Oh, yeah,
if the grants come through.
this reflects the total project cost. As far as the funding source is concerned, we split it up. In the budget, we split it up. We have to show it gross up. We have to show what the grants were, and then we have to show what the city share is for funding it. But we always have to show the total expenditure for the project. So, yes, you're right, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Councilmember Butler?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion we pass ordinance number 4169, first public hearing and first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Moving on to item P3.
Item P3 is consideration of a request for a variance to increase fence height in the front yard from 4 feet to 6 feet for a property located at 8755 49th Street North in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district.
Thank you. Item P3 is a public hearing, first and final reading. It is quasi-judicial. Before we start, I have filled out the forms. I will not be voting on this because I work for the company that's bringing it forward.
So you have declared a conflict of interest?
I have, and I filled out the paperwork, and it's in the city clerk's office.
Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, I will turn it over to Miss Erica.
Thank you, Mayor. I am Erica Lindquist, the Planning and Development Services Director, here tonight to present. There's going to be two cases in this presentation, CU 0622-00021 and VAR 0622-00013. The request, there are two requests. First, a conditional use approval for multifamily dwellings with densities greater than 12.5 units per acre, and that's in the multifamily residential R5 zoning district. And the variance request is to increase the fence height in the front yard from 4 feet to 6 feet. There is the property located at 8755 49th Street. It is zoned, as I said, multifamily residential. It has a land use of residential medium. And it is located mostly in flood zone X shaded, which is the orange color, and that is a moderate risk flood zone. Here is the site plan, and you can see on there in red where they have proposed the fence. The front yard would be along 88th Avenue, and that is where they would have to get a variance in order to have the 6-foot height. So here this is going to be a 2-story building, the proposed unit layout. There are 31 units total. So you can see the first floor, there are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. And also 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms on the second floor. The conditional use criteria, review by Planning and Zoning Commission, approval by City Council. We are doing that now. Specific requirements for R5, R6, and GO districts. Minimum lot area, 43,560 square feet or 1 acre. This criteria has been met. Minimum lot width, 200 feet. This criteria has also been met. Other regulations shall apply in their entirety except as modified above. This criteria has also been met. All residential development shall contain a minimum of 2 stories, and that has been met. 10-foot wide landscape buffer along the entire right-of-way which provides the primary access to the site. This criteria is met. In the perimeter landscaping regulations, 1 tree for every 30 linear feet. This also has been met, and interior sidewalks throughout the development and on adjacent right-of-ways has been met. So findings, the proposed use meets the intent of the R5 zoning district, which allows a maximum density with the conditional use approval of 15 units per acre. That would allow 31 units. That's the maximum that they would do, and they are asking to do 31 units. The proposed use meets the conditional use requirements. As I said, the requested variance for an increase in fence height from 4 to 6 feet in the front yard is for resident safety and privacy. The variance approval is consistent with the intent of the Land Development Code, and the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan and the CRA Plan. And therefore, staff recommends approval of case number CU 0622-00021 and VAR 0622-00013. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of both cases at their meeting. And I am here for any questions. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions of Erica before I turn it over?
Just to make it clear, the only thing they really want is a variance for the 6 foot on the fence. Everything else they're doing.
They also need the conditional use approval to go from 12.5 units per acre to 15 units per acre.
12.5 to 15, okay.
Which is P4.
Yeah, but this, we're just voting on the wall right now.
Correct.
Correct. Just questions of staff, that there is such thing as a visibility triangle, and that has been met? Because the drawing doesn't depict whether the visibility triangle has been met or not, because it doesn't go all the way out to the street on the drawing.
Yes, that has been met.
Thank you. I notice that the applicants are here. Would the applicants like to come up and speak? I did. Name and address for the record and whether you were sworn in or not.
I'll be glad to. My name is Hush Gawai with Northside Engineering. We're located in Clearwater, 300 South Batchel Road. I have been sworn in, and our wonderful young engineer, Danielle, also needs to be sworn in.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
So with us tonight is the Giovanni family here, and they're wonderful people. We've worked with them for many, many years. They do quality construction. We're honored to represent them. So if this presentation is just for the fence itself, I'll be glad to describe that, or maybe Danielle, do you want to? Are you prepared? Yeah.
Description of what the fence is and why you're asking for 4 feet to 6 feet.
So we're requesting the 6 feet, like the presentation said, is for safety and for privacy. And we provided the gates with fire access, and that'll also increase the privacy and safety.
What type fence?
I'm sorry?
Type fence.
What type of fence?
I'm not sure.
It's gonna be vinyl or chain link or concrete or?
Let me, all right, we probably will provide 2 types of fence, Mr. Commissioner Butler. The front portion might be the picket fence, the aluminum picket for beautification and with landscaping, and probably on the south side and east side, it would be more like a privacy fence. So 2 types of fence.
A wooden privacy or a PVC privacy?
PVC probably lasts a little bit longer.
That's what those wooden ones don't last too long.
Yeah.
If they're that close to the street, well, I don't know what's on the sides of this
30
property?
foot from the street.
Is there streets on the side of it, or is there
Just, 2
houses?
sides. We have 2 side streets and 2 sides, the south side.
Okay.
that's,
Oh, I see it,
Answer that
okay.
question.
Huh?
On the south side of it is the old IHS, I don't know what the new name of it is, nursing home. And on the east side are single-family homes. And on the north side is Runaway Bay.
Okay.
So,
So we will be glad to answer any questions.
You answered all mine.
any other questions of staff? No? All righty. Is there anybody else in the audience that has any questions on this item? Seeing none? Did we need to offer any additional information? No. Okay. Councilmember Mullins?
Mayor, I make a
Oh,
motion.
let me close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Mr. Mullins?
Okay. Let's see. Make a motion, we approve variance number 0622-00013, public hearing, first and final reading.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously with Mayor Bradbury abstaining.
Correct. Item P4, which is the companion piece, and before we even get started, I filled out a second piece of paper, and it is on file in the city clerk's office.
And you are declaring that you do have a conflict of interest as you work.
As I did for the item P3. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item P4 is consideration of a request for conditional use approval for multifamily dwellings with densities greater than 12.5 units per acre located at 8755 49th Street North in the R5 multifamily residential zoning district.
Thank you. Item P4, public hearing, first and final reading, and quasi-judicial as well. I am opening the public hearing and turning it over to Erica. Or Megan, whichever one. Let's talk about it.
As I said, I presented case number VAR 0622-00013 in my last presentation, and we are both here for questions.
Thank you. And this portion of it is to go from 12.5 units an acre to 15 units an acre, correct?
Yes, and I'm sorry, this one is the CU 0622-00021.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of staff? Seeing none, the applicant, if they would like to come forward. Name and address and whether you were sworn in or not.
Ushkuvahi, Northside Engineering, 300 South Belcher Road, and I have been sworn in.
Daniel Shockey, Northside Engineering, 300 South Belcher Road, I've been sworn in.
Thank you.
So, the density, as you know, is 12 units an acre, and that's a city set density, basically. The local, the county, and state regulations do allow for 15 units an acre. So by increasing this units per acre from 12.5 to 15, we will be consistent, basically, with the countywide density regulations. So we've made every effort to present a very good product. I know when sometimes you increase density at a local level, you have to give a little bit more than a typical site plan. So we have spent some time designing a building that is consistent with this increase, and also landscaping and the fencing and the amenities that we're providing for this site. We believe that will justify the increase in density. Danielle, do you have any additional?
Sure. Just something to note, even with the increased density, we're able to provide a larger than required buffer on the west and east sides. So, specifically, the east side is the single-family residential home. So that'll certainly make that much nicer for everyone around.
There's no 3-story, just only 2 stories, though, right?
Correct, 2 stories.
Councilmember Butler.
Is there a affordable housing component to this at all, or
No, sir, there is not.
this is strictly market-based rent? So they're probably gonna be like $2,500 a month or so. Pretty much, huh?
Yes.
Got a 1-bedroom for what, 1,800?
Well, I mean, we haven't set any rates yet.
Okay.
We'll need to have you come up and introduce yourself and.
Oh, sorry.
And speak into the mic.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Did
just,
you want to homes?
yeah, it's just one of those things that usually on these larger.
Yeah,
this
I
isn't
think,
really large
I think there is the opportunity to propose affordable housing for even higher density than the 15, but we're not looking for
That
that.
seemed to work out.
Yeah.
1 bedroom, you can't even, our employees can't afford to live there. Pretty sad.
Well, I mean,
Give them a raise.
we
Yeah.
will have a very good product for.
We get more we'll get more tax money from this place.
Yeah. We want to have the lowest rent around. We can
Yeah.
you know, it certainly helps to get 15 per acre. That helps to keep the rent low and still, you know, having a profitable entity there.
Okay, I feel better now.
Thank you.
So this property is definitely, could use some help to enhance the environment, the neighborhood, give it a little bit of an uplift, and we believe we will accommodate that by adding these units. So,
Plus, we're gonna be painting the water tower, lucky you. What do you think of that? There goes the rent again, it's going up.
Thank you, Hoosh.
My pleasure. We'll be glad to answer any questions.
And just for the two Mr. Giovannis, the water tower is catty corner from your property. If, you know, when you're standing there looking at the property, you turn around and look, it's right there.
Can't really miss it.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be beautiful. It's gonna be painted beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a view.
Stunning.
We'll rent you some space on there if you wanna advertise.
There you go.
Okay, we're not doing any renting up there that I'm aware of.
Not for sale.
Not for sale. So, anything else to add?
Just saying.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. The applicants or the property sellers have anything to add? No. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions on this item? Seeing none. And I think city council is finished with their questioning. So I'm closing the public hearing and entertaining a motion by Councilwoman Reed.
I make a motion that we approve CU-0622-00021, public hearing, first and final reading.
The motion has been made in second. All those in favor?
Motion carries unanimously. With Mayor Bradbury abstaining.
Thank you very much.
Councilwoman Reed's making the motion.
Thank you. Moving on to item P5.
Item P5 is consideration of a request for approval of a conditional use for a tavern and lounge located at 12333 66th Street North in the B1 General Commercial Zoning District with a waiver to conditional use criteria restricting ingress and egress via a local street. And Madam Mayor, before you open the public hearing, Mr. Luke LaRoe is here representing the applicant, and he advised that he would like to request a continuance from the council. I suggested to him it'd be appropriate for him to address the council at this time.
Thank you, sir. Luke LaRoe, 2240 Bel Air Road, Suite
Wait,
190.
may I ask one question? Is that before the public hearing has been opened?
Yes, ma'am, I would suggest
Okay.
that, because if you grant the continuance, then you don't have to worry about it already having opened the public hearing.
Okay.
So just to give my address again, 2240 Bel Air Road, Suite 190, Clearwater, Florida, 33764. I have been sworn. We were recently retained for this particular project, and I know that your staff's been wonderful in working with me and my expert, Mr. McLaughlin. Unfortunately, human frailty kind of got in the way of tonight's hearing. I had spoken with Mr. McLaughlin. He wasn't feeling well, and I wasn't really able to get together with him. I know he submitted a PowerPoint, but I guess to waive my own HIPAA rights, I've been going through radiation treatment for cancer. Tomorrow will be the end of my 3rd week. I have 5 more weeks, and I just have not had time based on my days being limited as they have been. I'd like to be able to have the opportunity to get together with Mr. McLaughlin, let him work with staff, finish up his PowerPoint so that we can do the job that our client deserves and do the best thing that we can do to give the city a full and fair opportunity to look at everything we hope to present. And I wouldn't be making this motion if it wasn't being made in good faith, certainly not for the purposes of delay.
How much time do you need?
When is your next meeting?
2 weeks.
Do you think we could get a little bit more than that? I'd like, if that meets with the approval, I don't know if there's special deadlines that the city has to concern themselves with, but.
How much activity is going to be going on in the building?
They will be.
I'm sorry?
How much
bringing it
activity
back
will
up
be
to
going
code
on
within
in
those 2
the
weeks?
subject property?
I don't know. I don't know that any activity's going on the subject property. I certainly wouldn't ask for a free ride.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering, because if they're gonna be opening up and doing business as usual without this hearing, I don't know, just trying to put it in perspective.
If, I'll make 2 weeks' work if that would help us get benevolent consideration for my request.
So
You
that
guarantee
means
us that no activity will be going on in the building?
Can they bring it back?
I'm sorry? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Will you guarantee us that no activity will be going on in the building? In other words, I think they're working there without a license now, and I wouldn't want somebody to get hurt in there while we're continuing this.
I can assure you there'll be no work done without a proper permit.
No, operating.
No operating.
Operating,
Operating.
operating. They were operating without a BTR,
Okay.
business tax receipt.
I would imagine that we'll have to ask him to cease operation.
Mr. LaRoe, I think what the council's asking is that
We would like to give you the continuance based on the fact that, in good faith, they would be coming back, trying to mitigate some of the issues that are out there.
Understood.
Yeah, plus, you know, we're kind of concerned that if they're gonna be open for the next 2 weeks, we just need to know this to base our decision on. So I don't know if it's a fair question or not, but
The continuance wasn't the result of anything that involved them. It was entirely a personal type of thing. I could certainly ask my client if we can agree to abate operation
Yeah.
to support the request for the continuance.
what does he say?
And just, if we hear it, they can always bring it, whatever the decision is, if they need to bring it back, they could. No?
Mr. Bell, go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you haven't been sworn.
My name is Jonathan Bell. Yes, I've been sworn in.
And your address for the record.
The address of the.
It can be the business.
Yes,
Your address.
12333 66th Street, North Largo, Florida. We have a bunch of concerts that are already set up and been paid for. If we can't open up and have those concerts, it'll be hundreds of thousands of dollars that are lost to these promoters. You know, because they fly in bands from Mexico and in California to perform. You know, and it'll be kind of devastating for their pockets.
It's been my understanding, we've been ongoing with this for 4 months, and you just now got a lawyer, and you're running behind on doing this. It seems to me like you're trying to continue working there.
No, sir.
No?
No, sir. It has been like that. I think the last hearing that we came to, one of the managers came to.
You need to open the public hearing.
Planning and zoning.
Yes, and that's when they came up with this hearing, and I didn't know anything about it because I was out of town. So when I found out everything about it, which Dan called me and told me, like last week, that's when I called Mr. LaRoe and see if he could represent us on the situation. But I had no idea about it.
Were you aware of the fact that you were supposed to have a BTR?
We did have a BTR.
You do not have a current BTR with the city of Pinellas Park?
This is what happened. We were granted a BTR in last year of October. Then I think it was July or June, they took the BTR away from us. Then they asked Dan to apply for another BTR because the BTR that we had was for a rental, a rental facility. You know, so, and they said, well, we don't allow rental facilities in Pinellas Park. So we had to apply for a tavern, is what it's supposed to be. And then he applied for it, and now we're here. You know, but they denied it at first. I don't know if they denied it or whatever, but we had to come. Now we had to come. We're here now trying to rectify the situation. But we did have a BTR first.
Councilwoman Reed.
Well, I know Nick put his on, but are we discussing this? Because it seems like
Well,
we're
that's
discussing this.
what I asked the attorneys, is if we're
So, I
discussing
think
this,
that
we need
we-
to open the public hearing, or,
It seems like he has enough knowledge. It seems like they have an attorney here. It seems like we have worked on this for 6 months on this project, and I don't know if do I make a motion that we hear this out?
It certainly is up to the council whether you grant Mr. LaRoe's request for continuance or not. As far as procedurally, you might want to first hear from Mr. Colonna as far as when the application was filed, how long it's been pending, when this hearing was set for this evening. If I remember, it was
I think
previously
this
set
is a,
couple weeks ago.
yeah, and it was asked to be continued then.
So, if you have any procedural questions, you should hear from Mr. Colonna, but I would suggest not getting into any of the facts or
Yeah, there was
arguments
the
about
meeting.
the application
Mhm.
unless you decide to go ahead and have the hearing tonight and open the public hearing.
Can I have a moment with my client?
Sure.
Just to explore our options?
You can leave your light on, because I will not forget about you.
Oh, no, you're fine. That was just,
You hear that, Patty?
no, I can't hear.
We can start the consent agenda while they're doing that if we want to.
Okay, well,
Well, they might talk him into shutting down.
Well, if they don't come back in, then we'll just hear the meeting without them.
I got a feel for you.
If the audience doesn't mind, while they're discussing their options, we're going to go on and move on to Section 4 Consent Agenda, Item C1.
Item C1 is authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a utility easement for the property located at 11109 66th Street North. Item C2 is authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a drainage easement for property located at 12150 34th Street North. Item C3 is authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a right-of-way easement for property located at 6188 82nd Avenue Court North. Item C4 is authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a right-of-way easement for property located at 6194 82nd Avenue Court North. Item C5 is authorization for the mayor to sign a contract for purchase of real property located at 4371 76th Avenue North from Praise Cathedral Renewal Center Incorporated in an amount of $10,000 plus closing costs, subject to the closing documents being acceptable to the city attorney. Item C6 is authorization for the City of Pinellas Park to accept a right-of-way easement for property at 6115 82nd Avenue North. Item C7 is ordinance number 4170, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, pertaining to the Board of Adjustment's authority to grant certain variances, amending Chapter 18 Land Development Code by amending Section 18-1530.10A 7F, by amending Section 18-1530.16A, by amending Section 18-1537.1 Board of Adjustment, providing for the inclusion of such amended ordinance in the Code of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. Item C8 is resolution number 22-19, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, supporting Safe Streets Pinellas, a Vision Zero effort to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries on the Pinellas Transportation Network, and providing for an effective date. Item C9 is ordinance number 4171, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, pertaining to accessory buildings in F, RE, and RR zoning districts, amending Chapter 18 Land Development Code by amending Sections 18-1530.2 C3, providing for the inclusion of such amended ordinance in the Code of the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. Item C10 is resolution number 22-20, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Pinellas Park, Pinellas County, Florida, pertaining to policies and procedures for the procurement of commodities or contractual services pursuant to Section 287.057 Florida statutes, providing an effective date. Item C11 is to approve the selection of City Council member Keith Sabile to serve on the Evaluation Committee for review and evaluation of proposals for RFP 22/005 for the selection of auditing services. Item C12 is authorization for the mayor and city manager to sign extension of Pinellas County Hazardous Materials Response Team Agreement. Item C13 is authorization for the mayor and city manager to sign the 2022 Emergency Medical Services ALS First Responder Agreement between the City of Pinellas Park, Florida, and the Pinellas County Emergency Medical Services Authority. Item C14 is authorization to purchase for budget year 2021-2022 one JCB 930-4 T4 rough terrain forklift for a cost estimated at $87,824. Item C15 is authorization for the mayor to sign an assignment of easements agreement with Pinellas County.
Moved on to the consent agenda.
Item
So just give us a
C16,
moment and we'll do-
authorization for emergency repairs at 9990 46th Street North to Vortex Services in the amount of $106,933. Item C17 is authorization for emergency repairs at 11838 70th Street North to Vortex Services in the amount of $25,979. And item C18 is authorization for the mayor to sign the 2020 grant agreement between the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the City of Pinellas Park for the implementation of community development block grant activities through the City of Pinellas Park, Florida. And that concludes tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reed.
Mayor Bradbury, regarding the consent agenda, I would like to make a motion to pass, approve, or adopt whichever action is appropriate, items C1 through C18, inclusive with items C7 and C9 being first reading prior to public hearing, and items C8 and C10 being first and final reading. The next public hearing will be held in council chambers on Thursday, September the 29th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been made in second. Any city council have any discussions on these items? Seeing none, is there anybody in the audience that has any questions about the consent agenda items? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And council is back for item P5.
In speaking with my client, he indicated that he was under the impression that there was some allowance for the business to operate, even though the BTR had expired previously while this matter was pending. I get the impression that that's not what the council thinks. So in order to enhance the likelihood that you'll consider the motion for continuance and give us a chance to get ready for next time, he's agreed to eliminate and cancel whatever events he had planned until we are able to appear again in front of council.
For the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
I make a
Well,
motion.
2 weeks or whatever period of time you grant, whether it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks, the council meets twice a month.
I'll make sure 2 weeks works, and I'll make sure that I have Mr. McLaughlin here, and I appreciate your consideration.
I make a motion that we extend this for 2 weeks with the understanding that there'll be no activity in the building as far as the alcohol, whatever, bar business, rent, this, like that. And if there is, we will pull your electric meter, and I will personally put it underneath my pillow.
Second.
Mr. Butler, let me suggest that you make a motion to table the public hearing until whatever date.
September 29th.
October 29th at
September.
6, I'm sorry, September 29th at 6 o'clock in these chambers, and that way it will not be necessary to re-notice the public hearing, save your client some money.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Second. Second what he meant.
If that works for you guys.
Do we have to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. Well, I'm going to speak my mind really quickly then, before we vote on it. I would think that you might want to start getting, you're in serious violation of the covenant with the City of Pinellas Park at what is to be happening on that property and what is happening. So you might want to get all of that information out, start reading it, start fixing the violations. That goes all the way out to the drainage on the property. The engineer who drew up the drawings and gave them to us, I verified with the original engineering firm that drew up the original drawings that they photocopied onto theirs, that they had not been noticed, that the new engineer was going to take over the said drawings. So they're in serious violations on so many different levels that you might, in the next 2 weeks, start kind of cleaning all of that stuff up.
Very good, Madam Mayor.
Because it's left not a good vision of what they may or may not want to be doing on that property.
Understood.
Before we vote, can I ask Nick how far back this has been going that we've allowed, that these,
You can ask anything you want.
how far back has this been going on? What is our timetable here? So he has an idea how long we've been looking at this.
So from Nick Colonna, Community Development Administrator, AICP, American Institute of Certified Planners, for the record. So this dates back from, there's two types of violations that this started with, and it dates back to October of 12th of 21. The initial violation was for abandoned vehicles, unlawful keeping of junk, wrecked and inoperated vehicles, and violation of fence and walls that had not meet the requirements of the site. And then there, just for clarification on the BTR, there was a BTR issued originally. The applicant did come in and apply. It was around February of 22 for the BTR. That's an estimated time frame, and that was for catering establishment, which was issued in error for a catering establishment by staff. Once that was realized, we realized the covenant was part of this for tavern and lounge only. That was revoked. The applicant was made aware of that. They have not come in for a new BTR for the actual use that's on site. In addition to that, the covenant allows, and there's been some confusion, is for the tavern, but since it has not been operating for over a year, you have to go through the conditional use process, and that's what's before you this evening.
Okay.
I think the additional information alone that I was unaware of, I would respectfully incorporate by reference as a basis for the continuance, so we can work on all those issues.
All righty. We will close the discussion. All those in favor of the 2 weeks until September 29th, which I thought was a Friday instead of.
He's got one more thing to say.
We'll fix it.
That's the easy part.
Duly noted. You're aware of them now, so if there's any out there, you can have them moved.
No, that was last year before we even moved into the building.
Well. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm waiting for the second part.
Opposed?
Any opposed? Sorry. I didn't hear anybody say.
I saw her mouth not move. Motion carries 3-1 with Councilwoman Reed.
Thank you.
Thank you for your benevolence, and thank you for the opportunity. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, we do not have any regular agenda items this evening. So at this time, Councilwoman Reed?
Our meeting tonight.
I don't think I have anything. No.
No.
Just thank you to everybody for all they do and all the hard work that they have done.
That's always awesome. Councilmember Butler?
Just got back in town. I was out of town last week, went to a place called Blue Ridge, Georgia, and was running around all over the place and ran across, what the heck is that called? Mim's Moonshine. There's a very nice distillery there, and actually legal, I think. And if you ever have an opportunity to get your hands on some, that 140 proof is very good.
That reminds me of the time we went to Jack Daniel's distillery, and you couldn't buy no Jack Daniels in that
Buy no
county.
Jack Daniels, yeah.
It was made in a dry county.
I grew up in Kentucky. What are you saying?
Yeah, the Jack Daniels, you have to purchase it and take it out of the county before you drink it.
I don't even think you're allowed to buy it there.
Only in their gift shop.
In their gift shop?
Only.
Nothing from me, Mayor. That's it.
Any staff? Miss Lana, we got stuff going on?
Oh, we sure do. So a full list of everything going on will run after the meeting on TV and can be found on our website at pinellas-park.com and, of course, our Facebook. But I just want to give you some highlights of some exciting upcoming things. On September 20th, which is a Tuesday, we have the canine graduation, and it's being hosted at England Brothers Park. So that's always a great event to come out and join in. Starts at 7. The Pinellas Park Fire Department, they're putting on their Denying Gravity play at the Performing Arts Center. That's on September 24th at 2 p.m. Free admission, of course, to both events. Art Walk, 924, our fourth Saturday block party on September 24th. And then on October 4th, the Pinellas Park Police Department, along with so many other agencies and the City of Pinellas Park, are hosting National Night Out at England Brothers Park. And of course, that's a free event. It's a huge event, lots of stuff going on the field. Starts at 5 p.m., so I encourage everybody to come out. I also wanted to let everyone know that our big treat trail event is on Halloween. So if you want to be a participant and you want to hand out candy to our trick-or-treaters, please go to our website and Facebook page. There's information on how to participate, as well as save the date, November 5th, Barbecue Rodeo. So if you want to be a vendor there, there's information on our Facebook. And also if you want to be a contestant to cook, there's information on that as well. So that's all I have this evening.
Yes, Mr. Dan.
Lana didn't mention, but there will be an event next week at Pine Brook Park on Wednesday, the 21st. They're having free hot dogs and free hamburgers for the community to get to know the community. The CRA police are putting it on, and it's a big thing, especially since I'm president of one of the homeowners associations.
So we will have our
Certainly want good
community,
relations with the city.
community police department will be out there along with some city employees that live out in that area.
Yeah, and I guess they're supposed to have games and.
We are. We're going to have some games. We're going to have live music and a bounce house and
Bounce house.
hot dogs. So it's going to be quite an event, as long as the weather holds up, because it has not been nice this week. So hopefully next week we'll get good weather and we won't have it interfere with the event.
Angela, we got any rec stuff going on?
Let's see. Well, I will say we are recruiting for volunteers. I'm happy to report we do have staff at the Ag Farm now, but we hope to have some public hours, and we would love to recruit some adult volunteers to help staff with that, so we can welcome the public on some evenings and weekends.
What phone number?
We have planning going on for some fall events. Of course, it's our fun year, so we will be helping out with all the events coming up and planning daddy-daughter dances and some of the activities that we did pre-COVID, getting excited to revive a lot of those things that we missed for the last year. So more to come, more details to come soon.
Ag Farm, who do they call to get some information about volunteering?
Excellent. Yes, we do have a phone number now for the Ag Farm, 727-589-8030. And it also has an email of farm@pinellas-park.com. Easy to reach.
Very good. And that was Mr. Butler's idea about the phone number. So, Chiefs?
Well, I'll piggyback off of some events that they already kind of talked about, but at the K-9 school graduation next week on Tuesday, we actually have our newest K-9 team are part of that graduation. That's Officer Nauman and K-9 Merlin. So we'd love everybody to come out and meet that team. I've been promised they've already set a record. Before graduation, they've already made their first apprehension here in the city. They were state certified before they made the apprehension, but during K-9 training, they actually got called out to assist, and they made their first catch. So it's a star team. So love to see everybody out there for that event. It will be not just us, it's other agencies in the county that are graduating their teams as well, but it is being hosted here in the city, or here at the band shell for the first time instead of the high school. So that's a good event. Dan talked about the Pine Brook Park Barbecue, which is going to be a good time, but also another event on our next Coffee with a Cop is going to be on the 28th, so Wednesday, September 28th at between 8 and 10 a.m. at Parkside Cafe. So we'd love to see everybody for that as well. That's all I have.
Thank you. Chief?
Yep, so I just wanted to, again, same thing, tag on to what Lana had talked about. We are bringing back the fall prevention play, Denying Gravity. When we hosted that, we hosted the first time ever. We set a record for a single event, fall prevention event in the southeastern United States, when we had 500 people attending. So we're hoping that it's going to be just as successful. There'll be some great vendors there as well. They don't do any sales. It's just informational for people needing help with different things related to fall prevention. So it should be a great event. That's the 24th, Saturday. Doors open at 1. The play starts at 2. It's free admission, but get there early. They start rolling in pretty quick, so if you want to see it up front. But it's a great play. They've been traveling all over the country since they started with us, putting on the play for seniors, geared towards seniors. But
Well, it's good for, I went to the very first play, and it is good not only for the seniors to hopefully defy gravity and stay standing up, but also for family members so that they can kind of learn how to help their family members with things around the house that
Absolutely.
can help prevent some falls, hopefully.
Yep, so be a great time.
Yep.
Thanks.
You know, their favorite rug that's on the ground that just, slides every time you step on it, and,
Yep.
find another place for it to be besides on the ground and go buy you one that's got rubber on the bottom of it.
Yeah, so it's just a great educational opportunity for everybody.
It is. It absolutely is. So, Chief? No? Any staff?
I do have something.
You got it.
Yeah, so this past Sunday, 9/11, the Community Baptist, is it Community Baptist?
Community Baptist.
Community Baptist Church over here, 6500 block of 78th Avenue, it was a nice service. It was really like a first responder service. Our color guard for the fire department was there, which looked very impressive. We had the fire engine out there. We had a lot of police officers there, but they actually honored Harold Behar, one of our officers, as first responder of the year. So it was pretty impressive and really nice event. I'm glad they put it on for us and represented our folks. So it was really nice. Thank you.
That was absolutely wonderful. It was wonderful. So it was, get to learn a little bit more about some of the people that are in your community that have served in one way or another throughout the, one of the people that they had there was a firefighter that was in New York on that day, who lives in the community around us now here. So wonderful people there at the church, and wonderful way that they're showing their support for their local community here. So, with that, I will say that I hope everybody has a blessed couple of weeks until we see you again. The meeting is adjourned.